Good evening, depraved listeners, and welcome to Go, my favorite sports team. The only sports podcast that you'll ever need because we're going to blow up all the other ones. Your resident explosives expert, Tyler Scheid, who has all of the bombs in his house right now. He's been building them for weeks now out of fertilizer and steel pipes. He's got it. FBI, please raid his home. Tyler Scheid.
That is not at all true. Everything that Mark has said in the last minute or so is a lie. You are elegant listeners. You might be a little depraved at times, but you're elegant. And I have a master's degree in sport and exercise science focused in administration of sport. That's what I have. That's my know-how. That's my sports stuff. I'm not a bomb guy.
You don't know anything about explosives?
I might know like a little bit.
Oh, see, I knew it. What's it made of?
Depends on what you're making.
He knows what the differences are. Oh, he's more dangerous than I ever could have imagined. My name is Mark, also known as Markiplier on YouTube. I am a up-and-coming sports knower. I started off this journey knowing absolutely dick and also diddly, and this guy knows a lot about dick and a lot about diddly. He's the expert.
About dick and diddly?
Yeah, in terms of sports.
Oh, okay. That there's a line to be had when it comes to the difference between dick and diddly and other sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can call yourself the master of balls and holes every week, but I can't call you master of dick and diddly.
Well, there's a difference between me self-claiming that after you gave me that title and then you giving me another title.
I don't remember giving you that title.
You gave me it.
I don't remember.
Go back in time. You listeners, you're so depraved. You should go back and listen to the early stages and how I got the nickname Master of Balls and Holes, which I no longer am claiming anymore.
I feel like
people scared away.
I've given you many, many nicknames. It's like I don't know why that one sticks, and I don't know why the master of dick and diddly won't stick. What's wrong with you?
I'm becoming sentient. That's the difference.
Okay, fair enough.
My own person and existing.
All right. Well, this is the podcast where we talk about topical sports news. We talk about the sports that you don't know but soon will love, and we talk about everything related to the world of sports, even if it doesn't seem like it's related to the world of sports. Hey, electric vehicles, my truck relates to sports.
It does. He could power a set to film us playing sports.
My 22. That's used in sports.
Target shooting, it is a sport.
It's a sport. We haven't covered it yet, but we might soon. Live.
That'd actually be kind of fun.
Recorded. Maybe not live.
Maybe not live.
Maybe not live. Recorded.
For safety reasons.
Yes, absolutely. But wouldn't that be something? Me, you know that clip of me like, why? Oh, why? I pull out the revolver.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't know that's an airsoft revolver. I don't actually have my revolver waving around like that, but bonk my nose into the microphone.
Is it okay? Is your nose okay? I know you've injured it many a times.
It's very fragile. I've re-broken it, I think, a few times, like tiny little cracks. But anyway.
Didn't you re-break it towards the end of last year?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just randomly. All of a sudden I had a bruise up here. But that is not a real gun. It looks very real. It's just made of metal, but it was a very convincing airsoft kind of like movie prop kind of thing.
I remember ordering that back in the day.
You ordered that one?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so it was part of when we were filming Date. Mm-hmm. We needed to get different realistic looking guns, and the easiest ones when we had the discussion was airsoft.
Right.
And so I was looking through and I went, Mark, look at this revolver. It's sick looking. It looks really real. And you're like, get that. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, it's modeled after a Smith & Wesson, like something 357. Something that sounds about right.
Yeah,
I don't know those big bullets. I like my little itty bitty.
Well, the crazy thing is that airsoft gun has little actual like bullet looking things that you put the airsoft pellet in the front of because it actually works as the revolver and it shoots it using those. I have those here.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Anyway, not important. What is important?
What is important? Caitlin Clark.
No, hold on.
Oh.
No, hold off on the Caitlin Clark.
Okay.
We got a lot of jacuzzis that have been piling up. We got to get through them.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to kind of speed these, just get to the bones of it, and then we're going to move on because we got a lot of news to cover today.
Yes.
Toxic Rhine says misinformation was spread. Before I begin my main point, I want to cover a small nitpick. Well, it's true, Caitlin. This is not even the main point. While it's true Caitlin Clark was responsible for the growth of the WNBA more than Angel Reese, and the attendance numbers reflect that, it doesn't take into account that the Fever's and Sky's arenas are drastically different in size. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, home of the Fever, has almost 7,000 more seats than Wintrust Arena, home of the Sky. There's way more people to be fit in Indiana's arena than Chicago's. Now for my main point.
Oh, to address that point, though, if you look at attendance percentages, there's a significant difference as well. When you look at Indiana Fever's, yes, they had more seats, but they also sold out a higher percentage per their games than the Chicago Sky did. Continue.
All right. Tyler stated that people on Facebook Meta discussed how referees were fired recently because they were being bribed to adjust penalties for the house. This is entirely untrue. That has been debunked as early as New Year's Day to as late as just before the last Super Bowl. Yes, some referees have made questionable calls, but that isn't because of bias or favoritism. The referees are simply not perfect and or bad at their jobs. Being a referee is a thankless job enough as it is, and when they miss a call, they get the sporting world's vitriol thrown at them. It sucks, but it's an unfortunate part of the game. Nonetheless, referees who screw up do deserve fair criticism, but recent bad calls in NFL games were not from a betting scandal. The refs just plain missed it.
So when I spoke about this, I said there have been claims on Facebook that the recent firings had relation to a bribing scandal. I didn't say that it was true. In fact, when I said they were claimed, you took it and said I wouldn't be surprised. It wasn't me saying that it did occur. I knew it had been debunked, which is why I used the word they were claiming. So that was one of those things that as the discussion continued, it didn't make sense for me to go back to what we had said and be like, by the way, that wasn't true. Although I feel like I did say that, I might not have, but I did specifically use the word claims as opposed to saying that this happened for that particular reason.
Right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Moving on. Four Nations Face-Off is a one-off. Old Recognition 5808 says, good day to you, gents, and welcome to Season 4. You speaking of the Four Nation Face-Off perked my ears, as in past posts of mine. I completely defended Canadian hockey. If you couldn't tell, I am Canadian. I couldn't tell.
I haven't seen you. I haven't heard you say oink oink A for Canadian bacon or anything, so.
Whoa. Whoa, you haven't even heard what they had to say. Whoa, that ghost died again. Oh my God. All right, okay, hold on there. I'm a Canadian, an extremely proud one. Oink, oink, AA. There it was. If you'd waited one more sentence.
Oh, sorry, you get too excited.
This is not going to be a political statement, but just some corrections as to the details of the tournament.
Oh, now they're chugging maple syrup. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. You can hear it. Anyway. Anyway, this is all in all caps for some reason, so I'm going to scream it. The nation's... The four...
Hold on, let me mute my mic so the bleed is less bad.
Right, here we go. The Four Nations Face-Off was a once-in-a-lifetime tournament meant to announce that NHL players will now be allowed to participate in international ice hockey tournaments. Never again will this format be used. Never again will only four nations be the only teams in the tournament. As I stated above, the NHL is going or whatever. I don't know why that part was capitalized, but
I think it was because I said it was a brand new thing and maybe it'll happen again. There is talk that it could still happen again because of how popular it went. There's discussions internally that I've gotten wind of from experts in the field to where they might do something similar. It wouldn't necessarily be four nations, but they would do something big international with regards to that level of attention. And they made money off of it. So they're like, oh, we should do this more.
Next one. Why Alaskan said, admittedly tiny nitpick, but the individual that Colin Kaepernick spoke with in regards to kneeling during the anthem instead of sitting was Nate Boyer. Nate Boyer, long snapper for the Seattle Seahawks, at the time was also a retired U.S. Army Green Beret, not a Marine. And that there is a distinction.
There's a distinct difference between those.
Each branch of the military is extremely proud of their own values and their identity and what they represent, so that is valid.
It is still an extremely special forces level of military is the Green Beret division of the Army. So it's still in that higher echelon tier of I guess combat training and prowess, but they are distinctly different branches. Marines, I believe, are a part of the Navy to a degree, but then they separate in their own way because the Navy has Marines and SEALs. It's the whole thing.
I don't know if that's true or not, but you're making statements that if it's not true, I don't know this man.
All right. Well,
I didn't know he was capable of making that many explosives in his basement. Had nothing to do with it.
No, they're blown up.
See, I knew it. All right, one more, and then we're gonna call it there.
All right.
Zero cock traccoon.
What?
Z rock traccoon. Zero cock raccoon says, Mark, I am making a rather informal jacuzzi about your thoughts on lithium and EV vehicles. From your self-love episode, you were accused about how much better you thought the EV vehicles are for the environment, and you argued that it was indeed better than gas. Although I agree on that statement to an extent, I want to actually refer back to the firefighting episode. To keep it short, an electric vehicle can burn up to 24 hours if it catches on fire due to lithium batteries within them. Firefighters and fire departments have had issues putting out EV fires in the past, and estimated it can take up to 3,000 gallons of water to put one out. An EV fire on top of that can reignite, causing more water waste, and etc. Not to mention if lithium was to spill into the rivers and lakes or reservoirs, they are detrimental for that ecosystem if it was to spill into it. My honest opinion is that both EVs and gas are equally as bad for the environment. No, not even close. Not even close. You cannot make that statement, because if gas went into the rivers, it's also bad for the environment. How do people not understand this?
Yeah.
Yes, lithium fires are dangerous, but with advances in lithium technology and lithium iron phosphate batteries are not as explosive to the point where they actually can be better contained. Yes, it'll burn for a long time, but it's not at risk of exploding the entire car into a fiery shrapnel ball.
The other thing with that is I think that has to do with not giving firefighters adequate equipment so far to fight lithium-based fires.
There are certain things that can help with it, yes.
Yeah.
But they're not common, and they are expensive.
It's like fire foam. Isn't like there's a foam.
There's a special foam that I believe neutralizes what the reaction is, which is like, it's not a traditional oxidation reaction where, you know, it needs oxygen and the fire burns, because even if you smother it, it'll still burn. If you put it in water, it'll still burn. It's some other, I don't know it very.
It's like the same way that road flares and stuff like that are able to continue going without having the same oxygen reaction. The ones that can be submerged. So
here's one way to put it in perspective of why EV vehicles are going to be better for the environment, for everything, no matter what, is they don't need oil either. They don't need oil at all. And whether you want to compare, like, you need to mine the lithium versus you need to extract the gas, they only got to mine the lithium once. They need to keep pumping gas for the entire lifetime of that car.
And then also oil and the maintenance involved with petroleum. That as well.
I'm not saying, I believe there's a place for gasoline vehicles. I don't think it's something that should ever be completely eliminated, because a lot of the advances, especially with catalytic converters, actually reduce the emissions quite a bit, to where if we reduce the number of vehicles that were relying on it and then had vehicles that needed it for certain applications, then it would be way better. But we cannot play this as both are just as bad. It's just not true to an order of magnitude that you can't even understand unless you did all the math to understand it. And it's not.
We did get a comment at one point of being like, it's not better because we burn coal and all this other stuff for electricity. And they were like, it's 60% of the electricity produced in the United States. They were in fact incorrect. And I replied to that comment, by the way, and was like, you might need to check your sources, because while fossil fuels are 60%, coal is only 16%, and it is going down for the energy production.
Way down.
The majority of fossil fuel production for energy in the United States is from natural gas, which is much cleaner, and that's 43.1% of the total share of electricity. We are at 21.4% for renewable and 18.6% for nuclear. And then hydrogen is negligible for hydroelectric.
But I believe nuclear energy should be such a more invested in thing.
I agree, especially as nuclear has become safer and the byproducts have become cleaner. Because it used to be everything's uranium rods and all this stuff. Different forms of fission and fusion have started to become popular, and they're actually creating, I think the new record is like 15 something seconds that they created
fusion
reaction.
Yeah.
And I think it was in Italy is the new record.
I know they did the one in San Francisco for the initial sustained reaction that was net positive for energy. That's where, you know, Bob's wife worked at that lab. Not on that project, but in that lab.
For those of you that don't know, Bob's wife is insanely smart.
Very smart. Yeah, this is a lab for big, smart-brained people.
Mandy is a genius.
Genius in statistics, to specify. But yes, still very good at what she does. Anyway, that is all the Jacuzzes. I have news, but it depends on if you want to know.
Well, I'm going to kick off with the Caitlin Clark one, since I was leaning into that. Caitlin Clark!
Caitlin Clark! Hit the Caitlin Clark theme song! Caitlin, come on the podcast, please. Caitlin, we are begging on our knees.
Caitlin, this is gmfst. Caitlin, Caitlin, come and talk to us real please.
Oh. Anyway.
Caitlin Clark is an impacted change outside of Indiana officially when it comes to individual teams in the WNBA.
Mhm.
So, due to rapid sellouts for the entire season in the normal stadium for the Indiana Fever,
Mhm.
they have relocated a number of games in particular. I don't know if it's their entire season,
Mhm.
to a bigger venue.
Mhm.
They're moving their home games from Wintrust Arena, which houses around 10,000, to the United Center, which houses double that, 20,000 seats. And it's because Caitlin Clark last June saw the ticket prices and was surprised that they weren't playing the United Center. And eventually they pushed it and were like, all right, we need to put you guys in the bigger venue, which is crazy because they were playing in the same venue as the Indiana Pacers, and they're now having to play in a bigger venue than the NBA team. Chicago ran into an issue where all of their games against the Indiana Fever sold out insanely quickly last season. And since the Sky are trying to accommodate more fans and allowing for some cheaper options for people to be able to attend, they also are now going to host the Fever and move their venue to a larger stadium.
Sounds good. Do you want me to run the few news stories I have in fast pace?
Do it.
Deebo Samuel traded to Commanders in shocking deal. Don't know who this is.
Deebo Samuel is a receiver that gets flexed into the backfield. He's one of the most versatile players in the NFL in the sense of playing multiple positions and doing multiple things for the 49ers. Go, continue.
All right. He was traded to the Commanders. Surprise trade reported during the NFL Combine, which started just last week.
Yeah.
Last week, sparked huge debate over the 49ers' decisions and gives Washington's young quarterback a new weapon on offense. I'm assuming Deebo Samuel plays offense.
Yep.
The move generated widespread buzz as it signals a new direction for both franchises and raised questions about Samuel's future impact. Okay. Any thoughts?
I think that they traded him for a 5th-round pick, which is pretty low for the value that Deebo has, but there were probably arguments about his health and the fact that his durability, because he has been used a lot. I think he's still a tremendous athlete, and I think Washington got a steal.
There you go. In boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis retains title in controversial draw. Undefeated boxing star Gervonta Tank Davis saw his perfect record threatened in a majority draw against Lamont Roach Jr., a bout filled with drama and debate. Fighting in Brooklyn, Davis started strong but was outworked by Roach, even taking a knee after a hard jab in the 9th round, a moment controversially not ruled a knockdown. 2 judges scored it 114 to 114, with one giving Davis a narrow edge, allowing him to retain his WBA, Worldwide Boxing Association, lightweight title.
Yep.
The result ignited instant chatter among boxing fans, many who felt Roach deserved the win. Davis, now 30-0-1, looked vulnerable for the first time. So from what this sounds is like, there was a knockdown, but it wasn't a knockdown, even though he went down to a knee.
So apparently there was an interview after the fact. I saw an article briefly, but I didn't know what it was about. And the boxer talked about why he went to a knee. And I don't know exactly what the reasoning was or what happened there. But I wonder if it had to do with how long it was since that punch that put him to the knee, or if there was something that was questionable in that action. But I didn't watch the match, so I can't really speak to it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. I'm just reading a synopsis. USC women clinch Big Ten title in debut season. What sport is this?
Basketball.
Basketball, of course it is. In a headline-making upset, number 4 USC defeated number 2 UCLA 80-67 to claim the program's first-ever Big Ten regular season title in their very first year in the conference. Freshman phenom Juju Watkins dropped 30 points to lead the Trojans, who completed a season sweep of their crosstown rival. The sold-out show at Pauley DePillion saw both teams tied atop the standings, and UCLA's only loss of the year came at the hands of USC. So UCLA was undefeated up until that point?
Apparently.
Yeah.
So that made USC the outright Big Ten championship because UCLA and a bunch of other schools left the Pac-12 and became a part of the Big Ten this past year. And so this is their first season, much like Oregon won I believe, made it to the Big Ten title game in their inaugural season. I think they won the Big Ten, and then they, when it came down to in football, they ended up losing.
And this was women's basketball?
This is women's basketball.
Cool. So more women's basketball is still making headlines for this. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. The only other thing that I got here is Shohei Ohtani homers in first Dodgers at-bat after surgery. So for those who don't know baseball, Shohei Ohtani, Japanese baseball player, came over to the Dodgers, made a lot of headlines because he was bringing a lot of people to the stadium. Apparently, he had a surgery, and he's back now, and he smashed a solo home run in his very first spring training plate appearance for Los Angeles. But this is spring training, which is that real games?
They're not classified as real games for the season. It's all prep and warm up before they get in the season. It's helping them, much like the NFL has preseason games, it's helping them figure out their roster.
Yeah.
Shohei had surgery on his throwing arm and I believe shoulder. I think he had Tommy John surgery again, and it's the second time. And the chances of him coming back as an adequate pitcher is in question. I don't think there were ever any questions about his batting prowess.
Right. Okay. And that is the U.S.-based news. I do have one international news.
What is that?
It's about Pakistan in some sports. It just says defending champions Pakistan crash out on home soil. Cricket.
I was thinking it was going to be cricket.
The second most popular sport in the world. The cricket animation just went up on my channel just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it did, finally.
Long, silly, long.
Long, silly, long, silly, long. If you don't know about the cricket primer, it's a very good one. Check it out. Defending title holders Pakistan were eliminated from the ICC Champions Trophy 2025 in the group stage. A stunning early exit finalized when New Zealand beat Bangladesh to send India and New Zealand to the semifinals from Group A. What did I just say? I don't even know.
So in group play, they sent another team home instead of continuing. So Pakistan, you said they survived or avoided elimination?
Pakistan were eliminated.
Oh, so another team knocked them out of group play, so they are now out of the major tournament.
Interesting, because like when New Zealand beat Bangladesh to send India and New Zealand to the semifinals before from Group A. Oh, Pakistan had lost a must-win match to arch rivals India the day before, and the Kiwis' victory meant the hosts' last hope of advancing was dashed. So it's like some loser brackets kind of thing?
Yeah, so it had to do with the fact of it's a point system, much like you see in international soccer play. You have your group play, and it's all about who gets enough points to end up moving on. And because Pakistan lost to India, which India is, that's their national sport, I believe, is cricket.
Yeah.
That made it so that when New Zealand won, the records made it so that their point values were lower, so they were eliminated.
It was Pakistan's first time hosting an ICC event in 29 years, making the flop especially painful for home supporters.
Do you know which form of cricket were they playing? Were they playing test cricket? Were they...
I'm assuming if it's the ICC, so I'm imagining that's International Cricket Conference or something like that.
So I think that might be the 20-something one. I forget what the different classifications are. Off the top of my head, but I think that's the limited limited overs, 20 over.
Possibly, I don't know.
20T, it might be 20T.
Thank you, Hindustan Times, for that international story that I have shamelessly ripped off.
It's 2020 cricket, or T20 is normally the ICC. Yes, so I think it was T20.
T20,
which is the limit of 20 overs. If
All
I'm right. No, it's what is T20 again?
I don't know. It's long T20 long.
20 overs only per side. That's what it was. It is 20 overs.
Okay.
I was right. Oh God.
All right.
Stress.
News
over.
That was pretty good, right?
That was pretty good.
I didn't know what half of what I was reading was, but hey.
The thing is, my brain clicked.
Yeah,
on all of them.
You were able to follow
I was
it.
very surprised.
Somehow you keep up on all this stuff.
The thing is, I don't. I just know what's happening in the world at this current point in time, so I was able to figure out and deduce based on what was being talked about.
Gotcha. Any inaccuracies are not my fault. I didn't know what I was talking about.
They are mine, and you can accuse me about them.
That's fair. Hey, I like that deal. That's a good deal. Good for me.
All right, it's time to get into what this episode is all about. And it's about animals. And it's about skis. And it's about snow and jumps and glorious teamwork racing to victory. That's right. This week, we're talking about skijoring. 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 That's what we're talking about today.
Okay,
right.
good, great.
So, Mark.
Yes.
Just based on the word and the information I've given you, what do you think skijoring is about?
Well, ski means to ski. Joring is an acronym, stands for jacking off really, really intensely. Not good joring. Checking off really intensely, not good. So you do that while you're skiing.
All right, here's the official pronunciation for those that are listening.
Skijer.
Oh.
Skijer.
Here, I'll restart it for you, Mark.
Skijer. Skijer. Skijer.
Skijer.
So that's skijer. Skijuring is how you would pronounce the active present. I don't know what it means. I forget English language. Blow me up.
See, he's got all these explosives. I really hope I don't make the FBI come raid your house.
I don't think they'll take it serious. I hope
That's
they
right.
don't.
Well, I don't
Especially considering there is no basement.
That's true. You're right, man. You're right. You're right.
So here's our quick overview.
Okay.
The word skijoring comes from the Norwegian skijoring,
Skijer.
Great. Good. Okay.
which translates to ski driving.
Ah.
Like many of the sports we've talked about, it started out as a means of transportation and survival, where it became a sport in the Victorian era. Basically, a person on ski is pulled by an animal, usually a reindeer, horse, or dog, though there's also motorized vehicle races today as well.
Yeah.
You can even skijor with your pet corgi. And that's what we have this video for.
Oh.
There she goes.
Look at that corgi go.
You know, Chica couldn't pull me in a sled to save my life. And sure, it was grass and not snow or ice, but still, she's a big girl, should have been able to do it.
You know, I think it was Chica cares more about your emotions than she cares about your overall safety health-wise.
Uh-huh, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
So, while this sport is not something that's usually broadcast on ESPN, you will be able to watch it at various different events in person throughout the year, from January usually through mid-March in multiple states, primarily Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, Maine, and Minnesota, to name a few. Places that usually have a strong agriculture and get snowfall. Those are the two major combinations.
Fair enough.
So, how did this begin?
I don't know. How? Tell me.
So-
Tell me now.
Okay, I will.
All right.
It was the Sami. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
No. I know what the Sami is. Hold on.
It's the indigenous people from Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia.
Or is it the Sporting Arms and Ammunition Manufacturers Institute?
That's not what it is.
This was Sami.
No.
It's Sami.
Yeah, but that's two A's. There's only one A.
Sami.
I'm finding the pronunciation.
The Sami was founded in 1926 at the request of the federal government and tasked with creating and publishing industry standards for safety, interchangeability, reliability, and quality, coordinating technical data, and promoting safe and responsible firearm use. Oh.
And the Sami are the indigenous people inhabiting the Arctic areas of Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia, and have a connection with nature, particularly reindeer, and they used reindeer for transportation, herding, and other daily tasks.
Wow.
Around 5,000 years ago, baby Mark, we're taking you back in time. 5,000 years ago, you are a baby, and your people, the Sami, have a problem.
Me? Am I the problem? Because I was born?
No.
Okay.
They're dealing with an incredibly long, blisteringly bitter cold winter.
Fascinating.
Which meant if you wanted to go anywhere, you had to trek through inches of even feet of snow. So usually, pushing yourself on skis works, you know, or in the sled. So your parents are pulling you, and they're like, oh, baby Mark is so big, he's so heavy. His bulbous big brain and genius IQ is just holding them back. It's very difficult. So all of a sudden, you, as a baby, are like, oh, puppy, and you tie the puppy to your little sled, and then you stand, and you're like, the sled's too heavy.
First step.
And you stand on skis.
Wow.
And then you're like, oh, and you're just zooming past your parents, and they're like, oh, he's a genius. We knew we had baby Mark for this reason.
We knew he wasn't a mistake.
He was not a mistake at all.
We were going to leave him to the wolves. Oh.
We thought we could go faster if we just let the wolves eat him.
Wow, and look at him go.
And instead, you befriended the wolves and tied him to your skis and took off. But really, it was a reindeer.
Then I mowed down my parents.
The wolves ate them.
Oh,
I'm
no.
a genius. I know why they left me there. I can connect it.
Oh, no. So, basically, the ancient people wrangled a reindeer to pull them. They essentially threw ropes around them and reins and eventually started breeding them to be able to do this. But they would use them, capture reindeer, and use them to run to traverse the terrain necessary. And a lot of times, the reindeer had better paths than they had even thought to take. So, it ended up being safer.
Okay, sounds good.
Skijoring was essentially ancient snowmobiling and the quickest way to travel during the winter.
A what snowmobiling?
Ancient.
Oh.
Ancient.
Man.
Essentially ancient
I heard.
snowmobiling. I couldn't speak. So the Sami people still have reindeer skijoring races today.
Okay.
And for thousands of years, it was a way to travel the Arctic and became a sport in the late 1800s and early 1900s. So how it developed into a sport is interesting. Pierre de Coubertin,
That doesn't sound Swedish.
the father of the modern Olympic Games, was introduced to skijoring in the early 1900s and advocated for its inclusion in the Winter Olympic Games. Despite his love for the sport, skijoring only appeared in the Olympics one time as a demonstration sport in St. Maurice in 1928. The event was held on an oval track on a frozen lake with horses pulling the skiers, as you can see here. So these skiers have reins to be able to direct the horses and have them
I don't think
run.
that's what
This
they're
is
for.
called solo skijoring. Oh, what do you think they're for?
They're for leading the horses so it can pull you in the right direction.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What do you think? What do you think that I said was, Mark?
I've never been yelled at like that before. You never yelled at me like that.
It's all right. You can mow me down like your parents.
I couldn't think of
Skijoring.
anything funny at all. Ah, no. Brain, what have you got? Well, clearly they're to lead the horses. I couldn't think of a goddamn thing.
So the race was staged on day 2 of the games with a large crowd gathering to see Rudolf Wettstein, Bibi Tarani, and Muckenbrunn earn a clean sweep for Switzerland. Oh, wait. Can you pronounce those names properly in the Swedish accent?
I don't know. What are they again?
Here, I'll send them to you.
Yeah, send them to me. Rudolf Wettstein, Bibi Toriani, and Muckenbrunn.
You.
That's what it is. These don't even look Swedish. It says Rudolf Wettstein, Bibi Toriani, and Muckenbrunn. The only weird thing is the Brunn, but it's clear. What else would it be?
I wanted you to do your Swedish accent.
I don't have a Swedish accent.
Look at past episodes.
Rudolf
They say different.
Wettstein, Bibi Toriani, and Muckenbrunn.
All right, moving on.
There we go.
The results were not included in the official games reports, and the medals awarded were not tallied in the overall medal count because it was a demonstration sport. And so in the next few decades, the sport grew in popularity, spread to the U.S. when soldiers from World War II were introduced to the sport and then returned home from the war. I imagine they saw this happening, like as people were transporting supplies and different stuff. So the horses would drop it off and they'd bring the horses back and they'd just be like, all right, cool, strap my skis on, take off. The sport particularly caught on with the cowboys in Montana, Utah, and Colorado. And the races in the 1950s drew large crowds and flocked to watch the thrilling winter rodeos. And these races are still going on today in 2025 with events like the Winter Roundup in Salt Lake City that takes place each February. And the one that my brother was just in, that I totally made a note of in my notes here that I must go back to, the San Juan Skijoring in Ridgeway, Colorado. My brother competed. He actually won medals last year, but not this year.
How big are the medals?
Medals?
Holy
Well, they actually, for this one, they're like belt buckles, I think. He got a cool belt buckle.
That's pretty cool.
Because that's a classic Colorado thing. That's a very rodeo thing as well.
Fair enough.
So it's all about skijoring, right? So reindeer category. Each winter, there's the Reindeer Racing Championships that are held on the first Sunday in February in Tromsø, Norway during Sami Culture Week. There's only one race with both women and men competing against each other, so it's co-ed. The track is held on a 220-yard long track that goes down the main street of the city. All you need to compete, well, you need a reindeer and some reins and a harness and skis. Ideally, you wear a helmet and some goggles and other stuff too, but, compete at your own risk.
Yeah.
You have options open.
Fair enough.
If you weigh less than 132 pounds, you'll also need to wear a weighted jacket to meet the weight requirements. Much like in racing, they have driver weight requirements. The ideal racing reindeer has a stocky, strong build and long body with big feet and a long nose and head.
The fuck does this freak look like?
It's just a triangle head with a sharp point, big muscles, and strong arms, but skinny, so it's aerodynamic and just.
Well, I mean, that is Pyramid Head, actually. You know Pyramid Head?
Yeah, I know Pyramid
Yeah,
Head.
Pyramid Head. That sounds like Pyramid Head.
Yeah, but it's reindeer version of Pyramid Head.
Oh, this is an animal.
This is an animal.
I was thinking a human looked like this freakish monstrosity you were describing. I was like, whoa.
So before the race, racers line up on the start line. Go is signaled. Race starts. Reindeer take off, pulling them behind them.
Mhm.
And usually, the race doesn't last long, as reindeer can get up to speeds of 37 miles per hour
Mhm.
and finish the race in less than 17 seconds.
Right.
And like most races, the fastest reindeer and rider wins. And I believe it's when the rider crosses the finish line, not when the front of the reindeer crosses the finish line.
Interesting.
So you have to have full over the finish line.
Interesting.
Because the rider is the person generally racing. It's a part of a unit.
Hmm.
So that's my guess. I don't have the official rules, but that would make the most sense to me.
That makes the most sense to me.
Then there's horse skijoring. Now this one is more intricate. You want to see the reindeer picture?
Well, yeah, if you got one.
That's the reindeer being fed.
That
I
is a
think.
reindeer. Yes.
And
That's
the
a reindeer.
cowboy.
That's a reindeer. Yeah.
There's the reindeer one.
Oh, look at them with their tongues out. Oh, they look like just big dogs.
For a second, I thought this person had two reindeer, and I'm like, that's not fair. And then I realized this was the other
I
person.
see. Yeah. All right. No, they look adorable. They look so happy. Oh, look at them. Look at them.
That looks like fun.
Looks like fun.
It does look like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But you see how like this person's trying to pull forward. I think that's why I got the idea that the unit has to cross the finish line.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Because like if you're dragging behind and it's just pulling you,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I don't think that'd be conducive to winning. If the reindeer just gets an extra thing, it'd just be like, let me just release the weight.
Go a lot faster if I get rid of this.
It just turns and chews.
Yeah.
So horse skijoring is a little bit different. It's considered an extreme sport, as competitors add in elements like ramps and obstacles. Sometimes you have to gather rings that are on hooks on your arm as you're going, or go off ramps as you make your way through the gates as the skier. The horse usually has a straight flat line, but the skier has to cross back and forth on the other side. And there's a rider on the horse in some, and sometimes there's not. While some are solo, with just like this, with just a horse, and just like they did in the original Winter Olympics demonstration, more often than not, you have a rider and a skier as a team. Having a rider control the horse makes it a little bit less dangerous.
Rider on the horse?
Yes.
I see.
Than when a skier alone controls the horse behind the horse as they're skiing. Usually a skijoring track is typically between 600 to 1,000 feet long in this category, and either straight or oval shaped. There also vary between flat and having obstacles, jumping gates, and ramps. Each race course is a little bit different. For horse skijoring, you need a pair of skis, a harness, a horse, and usually a friend that rides the horse. My brother got into it because apparently he had friends that did skijoring and they needed a skier. And my brother was like, oh, I could do that for you guys.
Oh, yeah?
And so his first time racing, he won and he got the cool belt buckle.
Damn. That made everyone else feel probably bad.
Well, luckily my brother's smaller than me and light and also very good on skis. And he does some crazy stuff.
Just a
and he's
shrimpy little
very-
baby. Just like
Honestly,
tiny,
at this point
way
in life,
smaller.
he's a much better athlete than I am.
Okay.
In the early ages growing up, I was the better athlete. Right now, he kick my ass.
No, I see.
Except for in basketball.
Right, of course, because he's so tiny.
No, because
Itty
I
bitty.
played basketball
Small,
and he didn't.
tiny, itty bitty.
Yeah, it's because he's small, tiny, and my brother is
2 feet
his proportional strength is tremendous.
for his height.
No,
He's just tiny.
it's a weight.
He's got the strength of a 6 foot man and the stature of a 1'6" boy.
Yes, brother of mine, Jared. That's Mark is telling the truth, as you know. That's always.
I tell in riddles and I tell in rhymes.
It's
I don't tell truth all the time.
He's also like, you made him lighter by stealing his kidney. That's what he told me. He told me that. So he said, I can make claims of success because I made you lighter for flying.
I've lost the plot. I don't know what he's talking about.
So, unlike reindeer races, horse skijoring races typically have one racer on the track at a time, and it's all determined by fastest time. Whereas reindeer, they're running at the same time. I have some cool pictures of this to show you.
I would love to see that. Take this, listeners.
What?
Get wrecked, listeners.
Isn't that sick?
Ooh.
So you can see like the ramps on the side.
Ooh.
And then this is a solo one.
Oh.
That one's going up the ramp.
Ooh.
There's one where they're gathering the rings.
Oh. That's
So there's
pretty
like
fun.
interesting things that skiers have to do and penalties if you can't gather all the rings.
Yeah, I imagine this would be really dangerous if you didn't have a rider on the horse and the horse was just like, oh, pretty, or oh my God, scared, and then jumps into the town and over the bank and then.
So I think the
That could be
solo ones are more likely the ones where it's just go fast, flat, straight.
Mhm.
Whereas the ones with obstacles and stuff is the one where you have the rider so that you're using them so they'll run to one side to create the momentum so you can swing out to the other side.
Mhm.
So coordination between the two is extremely important to avoid obstacles, but also get all of the rings or whatever they have to do.
Do you think horses like running in the snow?
I think it's probably better on their hooves than having them in carriages and streets of hard pavement.
I bet they love it. I bet it's like, a dog running in a field or that dog running in the snow. I bet they love it.
Oh, yeah.
I wish my motivations and wants were as simple as that.
What a dream.
What a dream.
I love horses. I miss riding horses.
I would hate to be a horse, though. Man, what a life.
I mean, they are pretty fragile.
And then you're in a barn and you got to eat hay and you got to poop in the dirt.
They get oats. Oats are good.
Worth it all. I changed my
Oh,
mind.
Just need the
Turn me into
oats,
a horse.
man. The oats. Their tastes are different. All right, and then we've got the dog category. This is the category that if we can get Chica up to it, Chica could do it.
Okay,
All right?
I'm ready.
So, if you want to skijore, but there's no snow, reindeer, horses, there's also bike joring. Bike joring is the warm weather equivalent of skijoring, where you're pulled by a dog while riding a bike. But there's also skijoring with a dog. This one's just kind of chilling and
Just
walking.
one?
Yep, just one dog.
But wait.
Just like the corgi.
But I thought, why do dog sled races have like 20?
Well, they're pulling longer distances. It's not a short distance.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, dog sled is like miles. This is
Right.
a short sprint of like
I
a few
see.
meters.
I see. Okay, I get it.
All right. But bike joring is the modern day equivalent in warmer weather. And so it can be a great way to train sled dogs during warmer months as well.
Mhm.
And there's even a world championship race each year organized by the International Canicross Federation, or ICF.
Hmm.
So in ICF, bike joring races are between 3 to 4.3 miles long. They're longer.
Okay.
They are set up on trails with markers to let racers know where to go. So it's
Okay.
in the backcountry. You need a bike, a dog, and a harness.
Mm-hmm.
But there aren't any strict breed requirements, but usually you want higher energy, larger breed dogs like those that are used in sled racing, like huskies.
Gotcha.
You technically could use any dog, though it's important that they're very well trained and aren't going to get distracted and run off when they see random wildlife. You wouldn't want to put You wouldn't want to put a harness on a golden retriever and hop on your bike with zero experience either. Yeah.
Yeah, he got there. What is happening?
Yeah, a lot of people start with canicross, which is cross-country running with dogs, and then move to skijoring.
Uh-huh.
But because golden retrievers are generally more emotional IQ animals and are set to retrieve animals,
Mhm.
they often get distracted and will go, oh, squirrel. Shoom.
Cool. All right, then. Understood.
And much like the reindeer races, they'll let racers line up on the starting line and start pedaling on go.
Mm.
And since this is a longer race, pacing is important, and you don't want to have your dog tire out or you yourself losing steam before the finish line. Fastest racer wins it all. And then technology gets involved, and you have snowmobile and quad ATV racing where you just hook it to the vehicle and you rev it and you go. And then you're on the bike or you're on your skis.
There's a ski behind a vehicle?
Yep, that's snowmobile skijoring, and then there is also, I imagine, ATVs, bike joring.
If there's one thing I know about vehicles, especially ATVs and snowmobiles and cars, behind it is where the exhaust comes out. Do you just...
Not if it's electric.
Is it?
Could be.
It's not.
It could be.
I'm betting it's not.
Probably not, but it could be.
Probably not.
It could be.
I doubt there's is there even an electric snowmobile?
Oh, there 100% is an electric snowmobile.
We'll find out about that.
I'm calling it right now.
Oh, wait. Yeah, they got plenty.
That's right. That's right. I know more about this than you suddenly. I don't know why I'm so energetic today and aggressive, but I am.
It's fine. Whatever. No, this is good. This just goes to show that one person who said that it just is bad. No.
Honest question.
What?
Would you ever want to try this?
If it was a really convenient setup, if I didn't have to go anywhere, if I was already there in the winter and it was in front of me and then there was that thing and I didn't have to do anything, yeah, sure.
But what if we got a little electric go-kart or something and you attached it to my bike and we just go down the street?
It's not the same.
And then we switch off. It'd be like bike joring.
Yeah, but we're not skiing.
Yeah, but it'd be bike joring, which is the warm weather equivalent.
All right, fair enough. Okay.
Because then we wouldn't have to go anywhere, that we could just do it.
Okay.
Because I feel like that would be a fun idea.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Sure. Yeah. All right. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
If you want to see it, go to where those events take place, usually in the various states I mentioned earlier. And maybe you could find us randomly doing it in LA, but good luck finding us. Please don't find us. Please don't search for us.
All right. Cool. Well, now I know all about that.
Well, that's going to do it for us. If you want to be part of the podcast and be involved, there are a bunch of different places you can go, but the main one is the Reddit with Jacuses, Japrecious, episode ideas. If you get too adamant about them and comment and be like, why hasn't this been done? Why hasn't this been done yet? Just so you know, I'm just going to make it further away because there's nice ways to ask and there's persistent ways that make me go.
We're never going to cover hockey, you fools.
Yeah, you just got too angry. We already covered hockey.
We're never going to cover it.
And then you can buy our merch, support us monetarily, store.gmfst.com. Go to the Discord, Distractago. The link should be on the Reddit. If you can't find it, ask a friend. They probably know. And that's going to do it.
That's all.
Bye.
Bye.